August 26, 2013 council meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got her. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coin.
Here.
Hilberg.
Here.
Colasar.
Here.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of July 8th and the special meeting of July 15th as prepared by the clerk be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. Finance Committee met prior to council and will meet again in 2 weeks. Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meetings held and nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Properties Committee, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are working on setting up a public properties meeting to discuss the municipal pool. Don't have that date yet, but we're working on it. No other report this evening.
Thank you. Special Legislation Committee, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting held and nothing to report.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting held, nothing to report.
Thank you. Waters and Utilities Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Request for council action. We have several items for the Finance Committee. Let me start these. 13-144, fiscal year 2011 CHIP program repairs for 856 Ridgeview Drive. 13-145, expenditure over $15,000 for ACE Business Solutions. 13-146, expenditure over $15,000 for North Gateway Tire for the Police Department. 13-147, Municipal Court Basement Flooding. 13-148, contract with Ohio EPA 319 Grant Program. 13-149, amend Salaries and Benefits Code Section 3102B14, Clerical Help. 13-150, create MCRC Capital Fund, transfer funds. 13-151, adopting Community Development Director job description. 13-152, expenditure over $15,000 for CDW MCRC. 13-153, MCRC hosted payment server. 13-154, zoning code and zoning map amendment, set public hearing. 13-155, expenditure over $15,000, Wingfoot commercial tire systems. 13-156, authorized payment greater than $3,000 for ORC 570541D1. 13-157, consider amendment of bid requirement per ORC 73505. 13-158, budget amendments. 13-159, Ohio Police and Fire member contribution rate increases. 13-160, increase PO, amend ordinance 8813, fuel purchases, Epic Aviation. 13-161, US 42 widening project. 13-162, Medina County Transit funding for 2014. 13-163, MCRC 5-year capital improvement plan. And finally, 13-164, purchase agreement for 119 Public Square. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to welcome council back from your break. And Mr. President, my wife, Chris, also wanted me to thank you for scheduling the meeting tonight instead of our 35th anniversary and having dinner. I'm here with you. So,
well, congratulations.
Kind of like old times, huh, John? Yeah.
He did the same to me, sir.
Yeah. I'd like to first introduce Miss Julie and Allie Condit, who have a presentation to Mike Van Arsdale from Cups Cafe.
This is my daughter, Alexandra Condit, and she is in second grade at Garfield Elementary. And in May, she had mentioned that she wanted to have a bake sale for those people in need, and she kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And so I knew that I had to go through with it. So she and I baked for a week every day, and she did most of the baking herself with my help. And then she decided that she wanted to give it to someone, to children especially, that were in need. So she decided to give her money to Cups Cafe. And would you like to say anything else? Well, she had a little speech planned, but I think that's just a lot of people. So she was very, very proud, and she wanted to thank all the people who came to the bake sale and supported her, and she also wanted to thank Mr. Shields. So thank you. I have to get this to Mr.
Thank you.
Should we call?
That is a wonderful gesture that you made, and you should be very proud of that.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and then also I would like to invite up Mr. Ed Lev and Tim Swanson from our parks. Mr. Lev, in September of 2011, entered into a program that they were offering 20 field makeovers for the entire country. Chevy Diamonds and Dreams 20 field makeovers for makeovers of ball fields. And Mr. Lev was fortunate enough to be the recipient of one of those makeovers and chose Medina City Parks as opposed to Brunswick Parks, where his grandchildren are playing baseball. But Mr. Lev lives here, and he was recognized by the Parks District. You may wonder why this is going on now, 2 years later. But he was recognized by the Youth Baseball Association, but not properly recognized by the city. So we've invited him to present him with a proclamation today. And it was Reagan Field number 4. And the City of Medina proclamation reads, whereas the sport of baseball, which has expressed the heart and character of America for many years, has been properly recognized as our nation's pastime, and whereas Medina Youth Baseball Program is a program of service to the youth of our community, dedicated to teaching sportsmanship and the competitive will to win, as well as furthering physical fitness and well-being through the Healthful Association and other youngsters under proper leadership. And whereas Ed Lev has recognized the importance of providing young people the opportunity to enjoy baseball by donating the Chevy Diamonds and Dreams Field Makeover he was awarded, which provided $20,000 for a field makeover. And whereas the City of Medina and Medina Youth Baseball are very grateful for Mr. Lev's donation and his support of the youth baseball program for Medina. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Hanwell, Mayor of the City of Medina, do hereby recognize and appreciate Ed Lev and his donation to our youth baseball program. Through his donation, Mr. Lev has provided an atmosphere for our youth to enjoy a wholesome community activity, as well as an opportunity for young people to enjoy baseball. Presented this 26th day of August, 2013. There you go, sir. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, just very briefly, I really wanted to win the Chevy. That was the first prize. I'm not going to lie. And I had to say that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Department has received the general fund budgets. We had a little glitch with the computer being awfully slow on Friday, and we'll get those distributed to council tomorrow, and that's the last of the budgets to work through.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you. I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Painter, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. In late June, you may remember we'd hired a full-time operations captain to fill a vacant public educator's position. A key requirement for this position is public education. And our ops captain, Steve Ingersoll, has had great success getting our public education program back on track. I'm happy to say since July 1st, we've trained 166 people in fire extinguisher use. 164 adults have received formal fire safety training. 244 children have received age-appropriate presentations. We participated in the Rec Center's July 3rd Festival, and we had 4 days exposure out at the county fair. We are also scheduled to do presentations specifically for third graders, but in all the elementary schools, something that we have not been able to do for many years. And to top this year off, we're having a community-wide fire safety open house at Station 1 on October 12th during Fire Prevention Week. And I will have more specifics and details at the next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple quick updates. The MCRC's new brochure is now available at the Rec Center and, of course, online at medinarec.org, which lists all of our programs and events we'll be running for this fall. Our Fieldhouse flooring project has been delayed due to some unforeseen flooring problems with the concrete underneath. The company is taking steps to correct this issue, and we hope to have the project completed by October 7th. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, but this was a needed repair for the facility and will definitely be an enhancement for our patrons. The next scheduled Rec Advisory Board meeting is Thursday, September 19th at 7:30 in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vogel, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind our citizens that a building permit is a valuable tool to ensure projects are done professionally, properly, and legally. I would ask that homeowners please inquire of the contractors they hire regarding getting the appropriate permits for the work they are proposing to do. The answer to the question, are you going to get a permit, will tell you a lot about the professionalism you'll receive throughout the course of the job. It is my hope that our citizens will only enter into building contracts with those who answer yes to that question. You will gain the benefit of professional work, timely inspections, and added value to your home. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Swanson, Parks and Recreation Director.
Mr. President, thank you. No report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. An update on a couple of our projects. As many folks know, there's a lot of activity around the square. There's two projects currently going on. One is the phase one of the square water line replacement project. It is ahead of schedule. It's going, the installation of the mainline water line is going very well. It will be a couple more weeks though before we're all finished out there. Appreciate everyone's patience working with the construction, traveling around it. Also, as most folks know in the area, ODOT has started the State Route 18 and 57 resurfacing project. The first phase of that has been milling a portion of that length, specifically from State Road to the square, and then from the square out to near Guilford. That occurred last week, and it was continuing this week. Their goal by the end of this week is before Labor Day to have everything that was milled, have the intermediate course of asphalt placed. So it'll be a lot of activity here this week. After that, they have some spot repairs, but it'll be probably some more weeks before they come back to do the entire project, which is all of 18 through the city and all of 57 as well. And lastly, on better news there, the improvement project at State Route 3 in Reagan has been completed, save for the signalization work. There'll be a couple more weeks. Their contractor has to do some retiming and programming of that signal, but the roadway is open. It's a tremendous safety benefit. We're excited that the project's been kind of in the pipeline for about a dozen years, so it's good news that it's completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. The water levels in the streams and the waterways are finally at a level that will allow the Service Department to initiate some stream cleaning. We went to Border Control and had approval for a contractor to come in and start that program. That will happen very shortly. And the other item I have is the Medina County Central Processing Facility, located at 8700 Lake Road in Seville, will be hosting their annual Fall Appliance Roundup, and that is Monday, September 9th through the 13th, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and on Saturday, September 14th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Drop off appliances for free, and the units do not have to be drained of any items as they normally would throughout the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayoral appointments. We have two for the Economic Development Committee. The first one is Katie Heinz, Service Industry Rep, expiring 12/31/16.
Move to approve Katie Heinz.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Second one is Julie Douglas McNabb for the Retail Industry Rep, expiring for a term expiring 12/31/13.
Move to approve Julie Douglas McNabb.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Notices, communications, and petitions. There's one liquor permit, transfer of a C1 and C2 permit from South Court Energy, Inc., doing business as Medina Marathon, 429 South Court Street, to ANABY LLC, doing business as Medina Marathon, 429 South Court Street.
Move not to object.
Second, not to object.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Unfinished business. There's none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council? Yes.
I would just like to start off with welcome back. I haven't seen you guys in a while. I've been missing you.
We missed you too.
All right. So, about a month ago, we had another activity on the square. It was a kids' day. We had a great turnout, beautiful day, and we've had a great summer with all of our activities. We've just finished up our summer. During the kids' day, we had the concession stands. We were selling stuff, and it was to bring money for charity this time, and it was for Let's Make a Difference. And here's the check that we'll be presenting to Let's Make a Difference.
One quick point. You forgot to mention your name, address, and your group, so everybody in television land out there can.
My name is Alex Manansky. I live on Asherbrand Drive. That's about it.
And your group is?
And your group is? Okay. Yes.
Medina Chant.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Thank you for all your efforts, and I think you're doing a great job. And Mr. Lamb, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'll just comment at the end. Thanks. I did not coach them on any of this.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else that wishes to address council? Yes, ma'am. You can pull the mic down a little bit. Okay.
Hi, my name is Karen Zilke, and this is my son Greg. And he's in Troop 462, and he's come to observe you for his community patch. Merit badge, sorry.
Great. I hope you enjoy the meeting. Do you have anything? And I apologize at the beginning. I came late. I should have asked you to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, it's all right. No, I have nothing.
And I'm sorry, what was your last name again?
Zolke.
Zolke.
Yep.
Z. Just for the record.
Zuehlke.
Okay.
Zuehlke.
Good thing we asked.
I know. It's a tough one. You can blame Ken for that.
Again, thank you, and hope you enjoy the meeting.
Thank you.
Anybody else that wishes to address council? Introduction and considerations of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 135-13, ordinance amending and replacing Chapter 905 of the codified ordinances of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to sidewalks, curbs, and gutters.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Simpson, do you want to start this off?
This is an ordinance that was asked to be brought to Streets and Sidewalks, which we had, I believe, 2 organized meetings to discuss the previous ordinance, or the ordinance that was not used in the past 16 years. So we wanted to, it was requested that we adopt a new ordinance to deal with some of the deteriorating sidewalks we have throughout the city. After much discussion, several suggestions, this is the ordinance that through the committee and the law director and the mayor came up with. I am the chairman of the Streets and Sidewalks. I was pleased to bring this to the floor, although I will not take too much time, but I cannot support the ordinance. I understand the ordinance and the need for repairing our sidewalks. It's the actually how the repairs are going to be requested to be paid by the homeowners at this time. I just feel uncomfortable with that due to the state of the economy, and I feel that people are strapped. I do understand the safety issues. I do understand the need for the repairs, but I will be voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Anybody from administration first? I guess I'll go there. Mr. Patton, do you want to add anything with respect to this, or Mr. Huber? Either one of you, I know you were instrumental in drafting the legislation. It's up to you. But Mr. Patton, anything you want to add?
No, that just say our part of the ordinance was kind of bringing it up to date in terms of some of the technical requirements. We think it's going to serve us well in basically deciding what sidewalks need to be repaired and then the method for repairing those.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Mr. Lamb?
I appreciate Councilman Simpson's comments and the way this worked through committee. I think it's an important piece of legislation. I think that the way it was drafted with the help of the law director and input from the administration presents us with a solid piece of legislation that does a number of things. One is it provides a cushion for folks that may not be able to pay, have difficulty paying. But more importantly, I think it moves us light years along in improving the safety of sidewalks in the community, as well as the economic implications of improved sidewalks to different neighborhoods. So I think this is a good piece of legislation, and that it will benefit the community at large. And I am very pleased that it's come to the floor for a vote.
Thank you. Any other comments? I just have one. I will be voting with Mr. Simpson on this one. I just believe as far as the functioning of government, one of the functions is to provide those services that everybody uses, and I believe sidewalks is one of them. So with that said, clerk, please call the roll.
Coin.
No.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
No.
Ordinance 135-13 passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Resolution 136-13, a resolution authorizing an application for grant assistance from the State of Ohio, Ohio Public Works Commission, relative to Issue 1 and LTIP program funding for the Ryan Road reconstruction.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Patton?
Thank you. This project was originally introduced to us by the county engineer. They asked if we'd be interested in doing a joint project. Ryan Road between Lafayette and just south of Sturbridge, which was replaced previously, shares jurisdiction with both the city and the county. They offered to, first of all, design the project, manage it, to apply for the funding, if the city would agree to share our proportional costs with them. So that's our request. This will allow us to submit, allow the county to submit in our name an application to the state Ohio Public Works Commission for funding for this project.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Resolution 136-13 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 137-13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept 8 temporary easements necessary for the West Smith Road reconstruction project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Mr. Patton.
Thank you. As stated in the title, this is for the West Smith project. Temporary easements are usually needed since we're removing and replacing pavement to allow us to tie in drive aprons, sometimes do grading, that sort of thing. These easements, when the project's completed, will go away. We're asking for the emergency clause because the project is under construction.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 137-13 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 138-13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a renewal of support agreement with BIS Digital for the recording system for public meetings.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
I believe this is just an annual contract that we enter into every year, and the reason for the emergency clause, I believe the renewal time period is of September 1st or somewhere around there. Since we're on break, we didn't have an opportunity to do it prior to break. Any other further comments or discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Rose,
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 138-13 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 139-13, ordinance authorizing the expenditure of $15,825 to the Medina County Society for the Preservation of Cruelty to Animals, the SPCA, for animal-related services.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, it's for the prevention of cruelty to animals. And this 15825 is for services provided in 2013, and we're at the end of August already. As council is aware, but the public may not be, we do not have animal control officers in the city of Medina. The police officers do help taking strays out to the animal shelter, but for injured animals, in need of veterinary service that are found out wandering, the SPCA greatly assists us with that. And without those services, we would have to staff those operations ourselves. So I feel it's a good value. The reason for the emergency clause is because we've already been through 8 months this year, and it just happened to catch us on the break to get this approved.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment?
Mr. President?
Mr. Rose?
I will be voting no on this. I do appreciate everything that they do for us. However, I feel that a 72% increase in a request from what was given in 2012 without numbers that really jived for me, I just can't in good conscience vote yes on this.
Thank you. Any further?
Mr. President?
Mr. Lamb?
I agree with the mayor. I think we discussed this in committee, that if we had to do this on our own, if we had to fund this kind of a service on our own, it would cost us far in excess of what we're committing to it. And in the short time I've been on council, I've gotten more feedback. I've gotten considerable feedback on this issue, that we have increased our funding from a number of people around the community that have said that they really appreciate that, because it's not only a vital service, but it's a humane service, and it speaks, I think, to what we place importance on, and I think a lot of people have that concern for how we treat animals and how they're cared for, and I'm glad again that this is coming to the floor, and I will vote for it.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? I would concur with Mr. Rose on this one. I agree that the increase over the years, we've been about 2,500, and then we went to about 8,000 or so, or 6,000, and now we're up to 15,000. I think they do a great job for the community, and I believe our funding does not need to increase at the rate it is increasing. With that, will the clerk please call the roll on emergency clause?
Coin.
No.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
No.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Did I call everybody? Motion passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
No.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
No.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 139-13 passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Ordinance 140-13, ordinance amending ordinance number 213-12, passed December 10th, 2012, amendments to the 2013 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. The first line is to replace a purchase order that was inadvertently closed. Second line is due to a change in healthcare status. There's an appropriation increase necessary. And the final line is a donation that we received, but we need council's approval to spend it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 140-13 passes 7-0.
Council comments.
Mr. President,
Mr. Colzar.
I just want to take a moment. It'll be a month tomorrow, but we are on break. But we had a Champion Creek cleanup on July 27th. Horrible, cloudy, rainy day, and we had 40 volunteers come out to help clean up one of our major waterways that dissects the center of town. I just want to, everybody that took part in that, on behalf of the city, we greatly appreciate you coming out, taking the time to get muddy. I mean, it wasn't an easy job. You're right in the creek, sometimes knee deep, sometimes more, trying to remove trash and debris from the creek. And I appreciate everything that the people contributed on that day, especially with the climate weather that we had. We had representatives from organizations like 3M, Cleveland Clinic, Medina Hospital came out, representatives from CDC, the Rocky River Watershed Council, and the Medina County Soil and Water Conservation District. I also want to thank the city administration to have representatives out there from the Streets Department and Sanitation. Our mayor was out there and a finance director. And we couldn't really have done this either without the help from Medina Community Church, who's located on South Broadway. They provided us a location, staging area for the wash and cleanup we had afterwards, so people could have a meal to celebrate the hard work that was done. We were able to clean up from Medina Street on the west side of the square all the way to Roscoe Ewing Park. And each year, I know we've had some big rains, but you'd almost be ashamed of how much trash we pull out of this creek. And I say it's a major waterway, and you've heard me say it before, but this is the water we eventually drink. It eventually gets into Lake Erie, and guess what? We pump that water back for drinking. So for those out there that are a little careless, there was some property owners along the creek that are dumping in there, which I know the administration has notified them. But take some pride in your community and, some common sense, too. I am working on getting something on the city website to show pictures of the volunteers and numbers to show how much what types of different debris and things we pulled out of there. A couple strange items, too, so give us some time here, and hopefully we'll have something up in the website in the next month. But again, I just want to take a minute to thank everybody that came out. It meant a lot to the community to have people that are dedicated to come out, spend 2 hours of their time to make a difference in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments?
Mr. President?
Mr. Shields?
I want to take a moment to thank Mr. Van Arsdale for being here tonight, and especially for the work he does at Cups Cafe. It's just a great community asset that we have. I appreciate how many students after school have a safe place to go and a meal. And I know some of us from the city have had a chance to volunteer there, and we've seen the difference it makes for families that he provides dinner for. So thank you for the work you do. And I'm sorry that Ally Condit, I know she had a great speech prepared. Sweetest little girl, kind heart. She knows a lot of her classmates from Garfield end up at Cups, which is why she wanted to help. And just in less than 2 hours, it rained the day she had her bake sale up on the square, but in less than 2 hours, she raised over $200 to donate tonight. So pretty amazing for a 7-year-old that she thought of this and wanted to help. And it's a testament to you, though, Mr. Van Arsdale, too, what a great program Cups is and how much Garfield students appreciate it and benefit from it. So thank you.
Any other council comments?
Mr. President,
Mr. Lamb?
let me say this about Chant one more time. I think it's the group that probably has been the most consistent in attendance at our council meetings in a long, long time. But, you know, I was looking at what they did this summer, and I was thinking that years and years ago, the Toronto City Schools, the directors sat down, and instead they weren't planning the school year. They were looking at what did they want the students to be like when they became adults. They were trying to plan a curriculum that would direct students to be the kind of citizens they wanted. And when we've looked at what Chant has done, sure, they got together and they planned some really fun activities, the Family Fun Day, the talent show, the movies on the square. But then they also committed to give all the money from their concessions to charities that are beneficial to the community, the Hands Foundation, Feeding Medina County, and tonight to Let's Make a Difference. And then on top of that, they volunteered to help Main Street Medina. They helped the CDC with the garden tour. They helped South Court Street with our house tour, and they have committed to help the Land Conservancy with an event in October. And when I see what they have done, these are the kind of youngsters, these are the kind of students that we have in this community, and it speaks well of not just the families and the community at large, but the school system also and where they come from. And that's why I was reminded of the Toronto City Schools, looking at what do we want these people to be when they grow up. And I think this is what we want them to be, and this is the direction we want them to take. And I want to commend them for the work that they've done, because it speaks very highly of each and every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional council comments? Mr. Hilberg, do you have one regarding a meeting coming up?
Yes, I do. Sorry. I actually thought of that earlier and forgot about it till you nodded your head at me. And I have to apologize. I can't think of the date. It's September 3rd. 3rd will be the Ward 1 meeting.
Fire station number 1?
Fire station number 1.
At 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Coyne.
Well, she wrote it on my thing here, so it's at 300 West Reagan, Fire Station number 1. They're behind the movie theater.
I thought of it earlier, and I completely forgot to write it down when I got here.
Sorry. The only other comment that I have is, again, this is an exciting time. We have a budget hearing on September 10th at 5:30. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people attending that one. I think we'll be going over the general fund budgets at that time. Is there anybody else that has any additional council comments? If not, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you.